Are we live? Yes, we are live. What's up, guys? You should be seeing me. I see I am on Periscope. I tweeted it out already. Mixer. Facebook is connected. D Live. What's up? YouTube.com/The Hake Report. Thank you for joining. Twitch. And people are calling in already. You can call in to 888-775-3773. Appreciate you guys joining. So, I have quite a show for you. It is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. And yesterday, June 9th, I was announcing it and I was saying it's June 9th. It's a good day to be alive and stuff. And then I decided to put off the happy birthday wishes until after the intro. And then after the intro, I forgot about everything. So happy birthday to Miss Chris. Belated. Miss Chris. And happy birthday to Anthony. My buddy Anthony. Good guy. Nice guy, anyways. No man is good. No guy is good, right? Happy birthday, Miss Chris. Belated. Sorry about that. I forgot. And happy birthday to Anthony. Right on. Let's go. Yeah. Solorzano. Let's get on with the show.
One, two, three, four. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, what do you guys think about all the disrespect flying around the country? What you just heard, if you're listening to the audio podcast, was footage from this parade going, a dumb Black Lives Matter parade. They had the right to do it, though. They had the right to be dumb. And they're marching along, and they're video recording these counter-protestors, described by Drudge and New York Times as angry white counter-protestors, who are by the side of the road, and one big white guy is kneeling on a friend of his neck, mocking the mocking the George Floyd incident. Really, in my mind, mocking the overreaction about the George Floyd incident, but it could be seen as disrespectful, right? And it actually is, I think, meant as disrespect. And that's what we're talking about. And there is a whole lot of mess going on. There was you also seen in the footage was a mural, which is so common around the country nowadays with the street art stuff of George Floyd in near Boston, right, Massachusetts, by some artist who thinks, justice for Big Floyd, right? Thinks it's uniting the country, which it's not. It's dividing the country because, it's pushing fake justice, not real justice. But anyways, he had the right to do his mural, right? Presumably, it's reasonably attractive. It's not so much of an eyesore, but then somebody puts an eyesore on it by spray painting with white spray paint scribbles all over George Floyd, the late George Floyd's face. George Floyd being the black guy whose neck had a cop's knee on it in a viral video, and he later died. He had been maybe overdosing on fentanyl. He had meth in his system. He had resisted arrest, allegedly. You can kind of see it on camera that he appeared to resist arrest. They held him down. One guy had the knee on the neck. Supposedly the cops in Minneapolis train with their knee on the neck stuff. I think they were trained by the Israelis, to be honest. That's like Krav Maga stuff I've mentioned. Krav Maga being the kung fu, the Jewish kung fu, right? Something like that. Where they just jump on your neck, flip you down, all kinds of crazy stuff. You can YouTube it. Maybe I'll show you some footage. It's kind of cool. But anyways, George Floyd's face gets all scribbled up. So much disrespect going on. But it's not just coming from the people that see this thing as being ridiculous. There is a whole lot of ridiculousness. If you hear what the BLM protesters are saying, no justice, no peace, no racist police. That's dumb. They're not for justice. They're for a lynch mob. They're essentially a lynch mob, except they're not able to string up Derek Chauvin or whatever that guy's name is, the guy who had the knee on the neck. But can you imagine him getting a fair trial amidst all this propaganda about George Floyd's death? I can't. I don't think I can. And speaking of that, there's a whole lot of disrespect against America, white people, the police, the truth. I'm going to talk about that too. But speaking of this this viral video getting spread all around, and then I will get to calls. I was reading yesterday, and I don't have any footage of it, and I don't have like an official news report about it, but I was reading, gathering pictures, and looking at video about this white Irish boy, young man, should say, he's 17, I think, who got his face slashed and stabbed, and his back stabbed as he was down by a mixed kid named Steven in this viral video that was suppressed. It's suppressed by the government. Am I too tall? Yeah, the courts they arrested this kid. There was actually a mob of colored kids, right? Black. This guy was mixed race, I think. Steven guy. And people doxed him. People doxed the victim and the perpetrator. And then there were a mob of kids either laughing, taking another video. And I say kids, but they're 17, they're teenagers. That's basically adults. And this guy was caught, if he's the real suspect, he should be tried as an adult, I think, because this kid could have died possibly, could have had his eye poked out. He was stabbed with a broken bottle. And allegedly it was because these black kids, or at least this guy Steven, came up to this white boy and told him, hey, give me €2 or euros, or however you pronounce them, right? The fake European Union dollars. So I can take the bus or the train or whatever. And he wouldn't do it. This white kid was walking, I think with his girlfriend, according to the news report. And he gets stabbed in the face. You see his face is all bloodied. You don't see the footage of the kid until he's already down on the ground. Like half awake. And this kid, Steven, is still stabbing him in the back. And the guy taking the video, Steven, you're acting retarded, man. They're talking all British or Irish or something. But they're acting the same, like wild. And it was out of Cork teenagers, right? Cork is I guess a county over there in Ireland. It's a mess. But the point is, the judge wants to suppress the video. Don't spread the video on social media, right? Because it could tilt the jury one way or another. We want a fair trial. That's the pretense, I guess. Or maybe it's a valid reason, right? Where is the suppression of these videos, right? In fact, I don't want suppression of the videos, but maybe we should. Maybe we shouldn't be having all these videos because people can't see these videos with an objective eye. They overreact and form a lynch mob and all that madness. What a shame. Fortunately, the Irish kid is going to live. I guess he's in serious condition on Sunday. The stabbings in the back almost got his kidneys, I heard. Crazy. Black on white crime. And it is pretty rampant really around the world and around the country of the United States. And black crime in general is out of control around the country and the world. But they want to, instead of addressing it, they address the cops. And there's room for criticism of cops, right? But they don't want black reform, they want police reform. And the stupid rhinos are going right along with it. You may have heard me overreacting to this black rhino named Tim Scott, whom the Senate Majority Leader Rhino Mitch McConnell tapped to lead this thing about the Republican response for police reform, right? And Tim Scott did this dumb speech in 2016 talking about, oh, I was racially profiled. I've been pulled over a bunch of times in Washington, D.C. I wonder if Tim Scott drives fast. Because blacks tend to drive fast, and they get pulled over more. They die in car crashes more per their share of car owners, according to the National Traffic Highway Safety Administration, or however you say that name. This driving while black thing is a myth. It's a lie. It's easily explained by the disproportionate black crime and black driving habits. It just is. Oh, man. Okay. By the way, healthcare is not a human right. I was listening to the tail end of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I saw this headline yesterday, too. The Kentucky governor, Andy Beshear, no doubt a Democrat, a white betrayer of what's right. He's giving the blacks so-called free healthcare, right? It's not, healthcare is not a right. It's not a human right. It's not a right. It is a need that you get to provide for yourself, or your loved ones provide for you if need be, or maybe the church. There are health share options, right? You don't have to get this health insurance stuff. You can be a Christian and join these health shares. If you don't drink too much and you don't smoke too much or whatever, you are generally responsible, you can join one of these Christian health share things and pay a certain amount directly to the people who need it each month. It's so nice, like 200 something bucks a month. That's what I do. I don't know if that's respected by California though, because California, the Democrats of California hate Christians, right? And so they want to force you to buy into a health insurance company that pays for abortion and transgender sex reassignment surgery and so-called birth control. We need to defund birth control. We need more white babies, right? I mean, we need more responsibility. I don't think anything urges more responsibility than like a baby. But I don't know. Lin Yun Chin gave a diamond, says there just is no peace. They need a shut up. He's referring to these protesters. Shout out to Asmodor for hosting the my show on his channel, and Jesse Lee Peterson too, doing it, as well as Dark Side of the Bear. What? Thank you. I'm on D Live and various platforms. So I'm gonna read more of your super chats and all that mess. I just wanted to show you some stuff. It's crazy. Oh, Skip says, that knocked me right out, Hake, them drinking and smoking questions. You can drink, but in moderation, in careful moderation. I was referring to the Christian health share. There's like different ones, right? Medishare and Samaritan Ministries, free, whatever. Oh, I found the screenshot of that Christianity Today's dumb article, George Floyd's Gospel Legacy, I think. There it is. So this was staring Joel and me right in the face, and we didn't see it in the folder. I gave it a name that was like nondescript and just easily got lost in the clutter. I give him like a ton of pictures each time. I'm giving him excuses, right? It's from Christianity Today. George Floyd left a gospel legacy in Houston. Please. Oh, he even showed it at the beginning of the show last week. And it says, as a person of peace, Big Floyd opened up ministry opportunities in the Third Ward housing projects in, what is that called? Houston, Texas. He's from Houston, he's from North Carolina, and from Minneapolis. And I guess that helps explain the many different funerals, I guess. It's crazy. Plus you got Ngualo. Nick's been trying to call that pastor or whatever that guy is from Resurrection Houston. I thought it was Resurrection House. So it's crazy. But, a brief point before I get to calls about this mocking George Floyd stuff. I think it's funny when kids, mock these incidents and reenact supposed tragic incidents. I think it's funny. I heard that there were some kids who did that. Didn't they get in trouble because they did it in a country that doesn't have freedom of speech? Some European country or something. This story kind of went by and I didn't catch it. But I even chuckled when I saw this Drudge picture of the angry white counter-protestors. And that's New York Times' words for it. As if New York Times is not angry themselves, right? But yeah, I would say that these people are angry because I wouldn't say that this is a wise thing to do. That's kind of, these people are, the protesters, the Black Lives Matter protesters and rioters and evil people are already angry. Why make them more angry by doing that? It's just plain, I don't know. It doesn't seem wise. But he's this white guy's kneeling on the neck of some guy, right? And he turned out to be a corrections officer or somebody involved. Was a New Jersey corrections officer, and the stupid Department of Corrections in New Jersey, which is a liberal state, condemned the action. And FedEx fired an employee who was a logistics employee who was supposedly involved with this silly incident. People don't really have the spirit of the freedom of speech, which is to say love for each other, where you allow a person to be peacefully protesting. Because people were peaceful. That kneeling on the neck, that was peaceful. They didn't hurt anybody. Every bit as peaceful as as the best behaved of the Black Lives Matter so-called peaceful protesters. Perhaps even less slanderous. But I'm not saying that he should have done that. But they had the freedom to do that. It's the spirit of the freedom of speech. It's like having love for people, allowing people to be so-called angry and hateful and inappropriate. It's your life. You want to do that? You can call it disrespectful, and I guess it is, unnecessarily provocative, yeah. Especially since you know that people are emotional and not sane in these times. But somebody said, oh, this is proof that racism is real and right next door. What's the harm? There's no harm. More destructive than these guys. And that, I would say, that's kind of destructive because these people, they're going to overreact, and it seems like the intent is to make them overreact. And you don't want to do stuff just to make people overreact. That's not loving. So these guys that did the kneeling on the neck thing, I wouldn't have done it. But look at these. More destructive are these smears against whites, police, America itself, being propped up by Republicans, by Democrats, and by the media, etc. New York City is going to paint Black Lives Matter on its streets. Across the city, Socialist Mayor Bill de Blasio said a proposal was put on the table to name streets in each borough and paint the words on the streets of this city. In each borough borough is a section of New York, right? At a crucial location, de Blasio said. What will be clear in the street name and in our streets of our city is the message that our city must fully, deeply feel, and this nation must as well, that Black Lives Matter. And you put capital Black, capital Lives, capital Matter. The move comes as the mayor of Washington, D.C. had Black Lives Matter painted on a street in huge letters near the White House. That's Muriel Bowser, the black female liberal. These are disgusting people elected to office. The mayor, again, said the move to take away money from the NYPD police and apply it to so-called youth initiatives will be finalized in the coming weeks. The government being the daddy, right? Bill de Blasio said that he supports 4 bills being considered in the city council, a ban on chokeholds. And chokeholds, I heard from my friend Jay, and I haven't independently verified it, but chokeholds were banned, I heard, by Jay. And somebody fact check this for me if you're so inclined. In the city of Los Angeles from the LAPD. And so in the case in the early 90s of who's that guy that got beaten? Rodney King. The police were, instead of chokeholding him to subdue him, they were beating on his joints to immobilize him because the guy was acting wild. He led them on a high-speed chase and everything, according to what I remember reading, as I recall, right? I could be misremembering. But the chokehold was banned, so they had to do the beatings, and the beating looks worse on camera, right? Crazy. So there's a ban on chokeholds, which I say is a bad idea. You know, I want the cops to know what they're doing and not accidentally kill the guy too frequently. But they're hamstringing the cops and giving free rein to the criminals and letting the criminals out of jail. A bill affirming people's right to record their interactions with the NYPD, which is a bad idea because people are not sane when they review these videos. They're the lay person. They have dumb opinions about what they're looking at. They're not even objectively watching. Yeah, so videos don't show you the truth, right? Because, you know, some people aren't about truth, even when it's right in front of their eyes. A bill ensuring badge numbers are visible on police officers. So maybe we should have a bill banning Antifa from wearing a mask. That keeps them a little bit more well-behaved. And a bill, but they don't do that, a bill to ensure early prevention or early intervention on officers who may need more training or monitoring. Crazy. So that's dumb. That putting Black Lives Matter on the streets is a disrespect. It's a slap in the face. It's a smear, albeit an underhanded smear, of white people and police. It's pretending that the white people are not valuing the black lives, that the police are the ones who are not valuing the black lives, when it's the blacks who are getting themselves killed by the cops by acting erratic, and it's the blacks who are killing one another, aborting their babies, all that stuff. It's so fake. Anyways, so that's politics, and it's your tax dollars if you're in D.C. or New York City especially. It's crazy. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this. I may tell you more about this mural being covered with white paint, but we need, like, love, which is not being nice, but being truthful. And respect for people is telling the truth and not putting up with the mess and kissing up and handling people with kid gloves, like what that rhino guy that I interviewed, Jeff Charles, wants to force Jesse to do, right? Well, he doesn't want to force Jesse, but he's mad at Jesse. He's judging Jesse Lee Peterson for just telling the honest truth as the way he sees it, right? These people are so phony. And you know who else? Wayne Dupree thinks, I think people should stop listening to Jesse Lee Peterson. Wow, Black Rhino, a fake. That's why you don't get excited about these POCs becoming conservatives, so-called conservatives, because don't be too excited about anybody for whether they do right in your eyes or wrong in your eyes, because you don't really know what they're really about. Miserable, angry people trying to spread their anger, both on the white side and on the black side. Insult and provoke others. People with real love may say stuff that you don't like, that feels insulting or embarrassing. True. But the aim is to wake people up. Those people, the loving person, their aim is to wake you up, and it's led by the Spirit, right? It just is. There's a time to tell the truth, a time to be quiet. So I'm glad for Jesse Lee Peterson, Tucker Carlson on Fox News, one of the one redeeming people on Fox News anymore. So pro-gay, pro-woman, feminist. Yeah. President Trump, I am glad that he's in office during these times. And I hope that he starts being self-led rather than listening to his dumb team. His team seems to be kissing up to the Cory Booker type madness. Anyways, Cory Booker's being gross. He's putting out this, I think he's behind this anti-lynching bill, which it's all just a fake imaginary smear on the whites. Cory Booker's a sucker. Anyways, let me get to some callers. Social Dystopia, I think. First time caller out of Los Angeles, California. Social Dystopia. What's your first name for me? Or a first name?
A first name, you can just call me Luke.
Luke. Appreciate you, man.
Luke.
What's up?
I just wanted to ask, because I've been wondering this, and a lot of people have been telling me not to speak the truth. Is there ever a time to not speak the truth? And I'm not talking about is there ever a time to lie, but is there ever a time to not speak the truth?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of times to be quiet.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Even if you see pure evil right in front of your face, like, I'm not trying to talk about, like, convincing, but you just see it happening, and you want to save them. You got to say it at least once, right?
I mean, you have to be, like what I just mentioned about led by the Spirit. You have to know for yourself in those times, and not be, because there's these people that they see what's going on, they hear that you're supposed to tell the truth, and it makes sense. You should be telling the truth. But then they're angry, they're driven insane, they're panicking over what's going on. They feel helpless, and they want to put out the so-called truth, putting out the facts, right? There's a difference between facts and truth. Truth, like Jesus called himself, I am the truth. He said that. And that tells you that it's more than mere facts. The truth is from God, but you could be repeating the truth from just your own either pride or panic or fear of what's going to happen to the country if you don't speak up and all that madness. And then you're going to go nuts. So you have to be led by what's right. So there is a time to be quiet.
Right.
I'm not one to say when it is.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
don't know. I just been trying to get everyone's insight on this question, because, I mean, for me, I just feel like, guns out, like, just do it and speak the truth and see what happens. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you can definitely do that, but there's wisdom in when to speak.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool, man.
All right, thank you, Hake.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Take care.
All right. Here we go.
You too. Let me get. Oh, you know what? Before I get to Ian, hang tight, Ian, and the rest of you guys. Let me read a few more super chats. Lin Yan Chin says, Merry Christmas, Hake, Joel, Nick, Jesse, and Chris. And how about Miss Chris? Because there's Chris, the white dude, and then there's Miss Chris. Mo Betta, stand up, gave a ninjet. Wow, appreciate that. Ninjets are major. He said, German state, Hess, lifts, I don't know what that is. I think that's inside of the German state, right? Lifts the COVID restrictions, but people attending church services must keep a list of all participants entering for services. Oy vey, he says. Frowny face. Yeah. These people, they do hate Christians, and they are control freaks. Control freaks is like a female mindset where you're just being nuts. That's the government for you. And that Germany is so in betrayal of everything good and right, seemingly. Mo Betta Stand Up says, 15 centuries of religion, registration in Europe. LOL. Lin Yan Chin says, I'm Lin. I'm Lin. They ain't my mob. They mob aub. Mam-aub. I don't know, Lin Yan Chin. You lost me, but I do understand he's Lynch, like Lynch. Anyways, Lin Yan Chin says, Yes, white baby engineers enhance life quality. True. Lin Yan Chin says videos equals more true than interpretation of them. Yeah. People's interpretation of these videos. Oh, George Floyd was murdered. How are you going to say that? He was incidentally killed. I think this is more accurate. Is the presumption of innocence that everybody should have towards these officers, especially Chauvin, who's being smeared and dragged. Crazy. Before I get to Ian, hang tight. Jib Jab says, wait for it. Willie Palomino gave a diamond. And spoiler alert says, I've heard that the current anti-lynching bill was created in response to Juicy Smollett's allegations. You know, that may be true. I've heard something. I feel like I remember hearing this so-called anti-lynching bill come up back then. Jussie Smollett is I think he's still alive, right? Is the black mixed actor who's a liberal. He was in Mighty Ducks. I don't remember him as a kid. And then he was in Empire, and he's homosexual, brazenly, shamelessly homosexual in the black TV show Empire. And he accused anonymous imaginary Trump supporters of saying in Chicago at 3 a.m. or something, when it's cold, this is MAGA country, and they poured bleach on him and put a noose around his neck. And he was still wearing the noose when he went to Subway after flying in, kind of late at night. But it was fake. And they tried to charge him with, false report or something like that. And then they dropped the charges. Yeah, and so who's behind this bill? If I remember right, it was something like Cory Booker, who's a joke, and I think that mixed black woman, who I don't even think of as black, Kamala Harris, I think. I could be wrong. Anyways, that's dumb stuff. Ian, out of Martinez, California. First time caller. I feel like I've heard from people from Martinez, California, I think. What's up, Ian?
It's a Hake Report.
That's
I
me.
just like the way Jesse says that.
Yeah, it's nice. He hypes it. It's cool.
Yeah, so I talked to you. Huh?
I said he hypes it. That's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he's funny. I talked to you last week. I don't know if you remember or not.
Yeah,
but,
I do. I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, so you pretty much, I think you pretty much share the same message as him as far as like getting the word out to whites to speak up but don't resent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. True.
So
that's the best thing that's the best thing that can help wake people up.
Yeah, so how do we get that out to like more white people? Because prior to this George Floyd mess, I don't know if you're aware, you might have been aware when you were going to college down there, but like white people in the workforce were already kind of looked at as the minority. They were, as far as like affirmative action and like diversity policies in certain private sector companies.
Yeah.
is detrimental. You know what I mean? Like it was already prior to this.
Yeah, they've been against whites and men for a long time. And it's seemingly like they've ramped it up even more now. Over a bunch of excuses. They come up with all these anecdotal incidents that aren't even evidence. There's zero evidence of so-called racism, which isn't even a real issue. Yeah, it's evil. It has been going on a long time. You asked, how do we spread this to more whites? I don't know. I think the best thing, the issue is not more. I mean, you do want to reach more people, right? You're always happy to reach more people, but you want the few who are actually going to take it and be an example. So maybe like the best thing you can do is be right yourself. It's not really,
because
although they do, the world believes in numbers and big platform and stuff. And so, they believe in democracy, right? Which is mob rule. And so they appeal to the mob and the majority. The majority is going to hell. And so you be right yourself, and that becomes a powerful platform. It's in itself, your life. It's such an important point.
Yeah, because it's really bad at the federal government job level.
It's overrun with the federal government is overrun with liberals,
especially with the VA. Like I was, there's a VA clinic up here in Martinez, and I was working there because I'm also a patient there, and I get my care there.
Okay.
And I was like, let me try working here.
Yeah.
Since I'm a patient here, let's see what it's like working here. So I was working there for like 3.5 years, and dude, I was the minority, and they're like at that level, at least at that specific clinic,
yeah,
they're super subtle about it, like the black on white bigotry.
Yep.
It's super subtle, dude. Like they don't say nothing while they're on the clock, like at their desk or while they're walking around. They do it amongst themselves, like they talk amongst themselves.
Right.
And then they're hella fake with all the white employees.
I believe it, man.
Like they try and befriend you. Like they want you to think that they're your friend, but they're really not, dude, because that's just how it is. That's just how some of them are.
That's how you just described the world. You just described the world, man. That's how, even whites are acting like that towards each other.
Yeah, so I spoke up about it, dude. I went to my supervisor. I'm like, dude, what's this all about? Who was black. He's like, dude, you gotta write it up. You gotta, write a statement. You gotta type out a statement.
Yeah.
You gotta do this. You gotta do that. So I did that. I took I did the right channels, right?
Yeah.
It did nothing.
Right.
It did nothing. It went all the way up to the manager.
Yeah, you can't expect. At least you have it on. At least you have it on record. That's good that you have it on record to keep, so that you don't misbehave in any way. But you can't expect people to change and do right. Maybe one will. Maybe one person will, but on the whole, they're not going to change. They don't care. Think about all the people that are on the national level who should be hiding their head in shame. Susan Rice, who lied about the Benghazi thing, she's still on TV. Who's this other lady? Donna Brazile, black woman, hired by Fox News after she gave Hillary Clinton a debate question in her debate with Bernie Sanders back during the 2016 primaries. Phony people, bunch of the world it rewards evil people like that. The world does, the evil part of the world. And so you just don't be dismayed at this injustice, because that's just how it goes. You just keep plugging. But I do like that you reported it. It sounded like you didn't get yourself hurt. You didn't hurt your own job by doing that, did you?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So you stay classy.
Not at all. I left there in good standing.
Oh, you quit?
Yeah, I was like, there were some other reasons I quit too.
Yeah.
But that was one of them, and I was like, and you know what? I was also tripping out on. There was a couple. I worked with a couple half breeds, like half white, half black.
Yeah, half breeds.
They were. Yeah, what is with the biracial people?
Oh, they're more radical. Commonly, they're more radical.
Did they forget that they're white? They won't accept that they're white, or what, dude?
I don't know what it is. It depends. It probably varies from person to person. Maybe they're making up for something, or maybe, oftentimes they hate that white parent. They honestly hate both parents, really, when they're like that. Yeah. It's very common. Look at that guy from ER or some doctor show, right? There's this guy, I think his name was Jason Williams, and he's mixed. And then there's that guy who's supposedly part black, but we don't really know for sure. Sean King. He's one of the most disgusting people that you want to know. So, yeah.
Yeah, right, that guy.
It's,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just making up for something or they're just feel like they really have to prove themselves or what's going on. There's a lot that can go on in the mind of somebody, especially as they're growing up. It's mixed kids have that kind of crisis of, I guess, identity or whatever. And they do end up resenting the parents. And it's even more, most people, all people, I guess, end up resenting their parents. It's even more complicated when you have that stuff going on, especially in highly political times like these. What a mess. Ian, but you can't quit every job just because there's injustice at that job. You working though? You working still?
No, I'm in school.
Okay. Dang.
I'm actually inspired by Jesse and you, because I'm inspired to go to school for the opposite reason of why everybody else is in school. I want to learn about what's being taught, and I want to see like where all this stuff is coming from. Like these.
Are you being paid to go to school?
Yeah, I'm working on the from the VA.
From the military.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Well,
but I want to read and learn about all these dumb terms, dude, that society has been using for all these years, and I'm learning that all these social terms are coming from like sociology, and sociology that's their religion.
It's a replacement of true religion. They have this fake religion. I appreciate it, Ian. I got to run. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So, Joel, where's Joel? I want to play these clips of these guys. This disrespect. Columbus statues toppled in Richmond, beheaded in Boston. Just play a couple of quick clips for you guys before I get back to calls. Real fast. The Hill reports statues of Christopher Columbus were targeted by so-called protesters. Protesters don't vandalize. Those are rioters. In Massachusetts and Virginia Tuesday night in an act of solidarity with indigenous peoples. Sounds like the Hill is promoting far-left propaganda. So let's just play clip, I guess, 12? Yeah, let's play clip 12.
Another statue was pulled to the ground in Richmond tonight. The Christopher Columbus statue in Bird Park targeted. Let's take a look here if we can get that video up of the aftermath. The statue ended up in a nearby lake.
It's clear protesters here in Richmond are trying to make a statement by tearing down symbols in the city that to many are a painful reminder of the past. Just take a look here. A Christopher Columbus statue was knocked over and thrown here into the lake. There's also a makeshift headstone that says racism, you will not be missed. Now here's video of where the statue used to stand in Bird Park. Around 8:30 tonight, protesters used 3 ropes to pull Columbus down and drag the statue about a 2-minute walk away into the landing at Fountain Lake. Now all that's left is a sign that says Columbus represents genocide. I spoke with a protester who admitted to helping topple over the statue. They say it wasn't planned. It was a buildup over time after chanting, "Tear it down." The person said they love Richmond, but there are too many reminders of racism. Now here, there is no police presence at this time, but again, this is the second statue to be knocked down in a matter of days in the city.
By racism, they will not be missed. They mean white people. We hate you. Here's clip 13, another statue. I guess this is the one in Boston. Boston, I guess.
Statue was beheaded in Boston. Lisa Gresci is live there with the very latest for us. Lisa?
Kate, overnight here in Boston's Columbus Park, the Christopher Columbus statue was beheaded, and now police are trying to figure out who did this. Christopher Columbus is credited with discovering America. A national holiday is named in his honor, but his story is controversial for his violent treatment and killings of Native Americans. Many Native Americans have denounced Columbus as a racist, and now many cities and towns across the country and here in Massachusetts have rejected the holiday and instead celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. This isn't the first time this Columbus statue has been vandalized. It was doused with red paint back in 2015 with the words Black Lives Matter spray painted on the base. And just last night in Richmond, Virginia, protesters tore down a Columbus statue and threw it into the lake. This comes amid a new push to take down these controversial statues across the country and world. If you know anything about what happened here to this statue, call Boston Police right away. Reporting live here in Boston, Lisa Greshey, WBZ This Morning.
Notice that she seemed to give credence to the stupid notion that he's racist, genocide, dumb. These people are full of hate. These people that are doing this. Crazy. I heard that arsonists are targeting homes that have American flags, according to Drudge. Madness. And, you know, the media is promoting this propaganda that there's little evidence that Antifa is involved in these protests and riots based on arrest records. The point of Antifa is not to get arrested, not to get caught. That's why they have these masks. That's why they do all this madness. The point of Antifa, just like voter fraud, is not to get caught, is to get away with it. That's why they say, oh, little evidence of voter fraud, little evidence of Antifa. So phony, even though we can see Antifa doing it. And you see the blacks doing it too. You know, some of the burning and looting and all that madness. Anyways, yeah, the indigenous peoples. That reminds me, White History Month last year, I read to you guys the Declaration of Independence by the so-called founding fathers of the United States, and they mentioned the so-called indigenous people, or so-called Native Americans. We're Native Americans. We were born here. But these people were called savages that have no regard for old people, women, children, the sick. They will kill anybody. And that the King of England was exploiting the violence of the savages against the people who were in America and wanted their independence from England. So these so-called Indians, American Indians, is probably their right term, they weren't innocent people. And if they were genocided, there's a whole lot of Indians still around. Anyways, it's all propaganda. It's commie propaganda. And they put Black Lives Matter on Christopher Columbus. Please. America is like the nicest country to the Indians and to the blacks. Too nice. Ridiculous. Anyways, let me get to some calls. Richard, been on hold a while out of North Carolina. What's up? Go for it.
Oh, give me 1 second. Let me take you out. All right. I wanted to talk about how that the counter-protestors, I really think it's a setup by the left to instigate more rioting.
You know, that may well be. I don't know if it's to instigate. You know what? I don't know if it's to instigate more rioting, but they do this propaganda all the time.
To keep it going, at least. To keep it going, because, you know, they can't use COVID. They have to warm up COVID a little bit more before they can unleash it again. And make us all stay in until November. You know that?
I've seen this footage of this dumb liberal guy who's shown up at he showed up at a Trump event, a Trump Q&A during the 2016 thing. He's a far left liberal old white guy
or something like that.
Yeah, and he's all something about all these. I don't know if he was talking about illegals or blacks. He said something that was edgy and basically a caricature. He was a caricature of a far right guy, right? Of a Tea Party supporter or whatever. Basically trying to make Trump look bad. And so this did look kind of posed, how this guy is kneeling on the guy.
Well, you
And
see how fast New York Times and everybody jumped on it.
yeah, that's a very good point. And you know what, man? Same thing with this. The point is, we don't know who those people are. And on top of that, even if they were they had the right to do it. What's the big deal? But people aren't sane.
Yeah.
And this thing about the defacing of that George Floyd mural, we don't know who did that. We don't know who allegedly
it was probably Antifa.
Yeah, it could well have been.
We all know they're yanking around BLM by their chain.
The blacks and the gays and the women are the primary perpetrators of fake hate crimes. You know how
I've seen many instances in Antifa where the women are the ones that try to start fights with the patriots.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and then they say, if you hit me, then it's a physical violence against a woman. These are the states where they know there's extra punishment if you hit a woman.
Yeah. It's really, it's evil deception. And you bring up a good point, because we don't know who these people are. So, good point.
And I also wanted to say something real quick. I know I don't want to keep too much longer. That Indigenous Peoples Day is totally stupid and ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm
half Italian. And the fact what they call Italians, Wap, Dago, Greaser, they were absolutely nasty to my mother when she was growing up in the Italian in the neighborhood. Because if she go outside the neighborhood, their schools they would call them. She'd be called Greaser, Wap, Dago. It's bad as the N word, not worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they have the freedom of speech to say it. Who cares?
Yes. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to have consequences, though.
Yeah. Yeah, if you say it in the wrong context, of course.
Yeah, and I think everyone has a right to say whatever they want, as long as it doesn't put people's lives in danger, like go attack that person, like Antifa does.
Right.
Or so you say bomb or fire in a movie theater. But you are going to suffer the consequences. If you say, I support something like pedophilia, you have a right to say that, but everyone's going to say you're a sicko pervert.
Right. We need to we need to use the freedom of speech to tell the truth, because the truth is, it's not so much free speech that's being suppressed as the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is being suppressed.
Like I said, I think Columbus Day should be celebrated. I grew up as a Generation X, and we had no problem with Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
We were taught by the older teachers, the teachers who were a little bit more conservative and Christian, or at least lean Christian, know. They didn't have a problem with Christianity,
Unlike the ones today. The ones today, even the Christians are fake liberal Christians. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Richard, I appreciate it, man. Go for it.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you have an hour a day, right? Is that what your radio station is?
Currently so, yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, I hope they increase. I'll tell Jesse I want you to be increased to 2 hours, if not 3.
All right. Thank you, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Care.
Take care. Jim out of Ohio, first-time caller, I think. Go for it, Jim. I'm opening the treasure chest shortly.
James, hello from Ohio, home state of the beta male LeBron James.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Man, a mama's boy.
Well, now you in Los Angeles and the Lakers have our beta.
Yep.
So every time I hear Jesse saying rent a black, it reminds me a mental picture of the Mexicans standing outside of Home Depot.
Interesting.
And the thing that I want to propose is trade a black. So America has rioting and looting blacks that we would like to get rid of. South Africa has whites that they would like to get rid of. So why don't we trade our rioting and looting blacks, and we'll take in South African whites?
I wish that it were that simple, but you know what, man? It's not even the physical removal of trading these people is not going to do the trick. It's a nice thought, Then there is some physical things we can do, but we have to address the weakness of the whites to allow this to happen. We just have to become right and do stuff. I don't know. I just don't see that happening. But appreciate it. Yeah, the South Africa, the total injustice going on against and evil, just crazy murders and attacks, and the media that pretend like they're for so-called human rights, which they just mean they like communism. They mean they don't like whites, don't like babies, don't like Christians. Yeah, you're right. It is a major issue. I hope that Trump addresses it. Has Buffalo Bartlett gotten to the White House yet? He was supposed to be there. But crazy stuff going on. I should check and see what he's up to. He's the guy that I interviewed from South Africa last time. And I want to interview another South African. I have one in mind to invite on. Thank you, Jim. Good to hear from you.
Great show. God bless.
All right. You as well. Congrats to the luckiest followers. Fan of the ladies. Take care, Business Bear. Groipius. Polly J. Brandon M. And thank you to Mo Betta. Stand up. Lin Yan Chin. Polly J. Zona Bologna. Groipius. Fan of the ladies. Vegas Prairie Bear. Shaggy Boy. Noah's Arkansas. Always faithful. Take care, Business Bear. Polly J. with a few diamonds. Several diamonds, I should say. Mo Betta says, love it when Hake do the 1,000-mile Tucker stare. LOL. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hake, ladies in the chat want you without sleeves, says Mo Betta. Stand up. Yeah, I know. Oh, shoot. I already said that one. Spoiler alert, gave another super chat that I wasn't able to read, but now I can. He said, maybe they hate their white parent for mixing, referring to these mixed kids. Yeah, and, you know, I have some liberal friends who are mixed and some conservative friends who are mixed. The liberal ones are, you know, you say something like, I don't think it's wise or the best or ideal, right, to interracially mix because it's all, you know, it just doesn't seem right. They're saying, so you saying I shouldn't exist? Please. It's not what that means. Don't be overreacting. By the way, violent crime is on the rise, Drudge reports. Last few minutes, let me just tell you guys. You may have heard Chicago suffered its deadliest day in 60 years with 18 murders. A week ago, that was a week ago, Sunday, May 31st, 2020. Deadliest single day in 60 years. Deadliest 24-hour period. Meanwhile, the mayor is acting like a lesbian, shouting and cussing at the aldermen. Aldermen are what? Are they like city councilmen? Who are saying there's crazy rioting and destruction going on? 21 people shot over the weekend in St. Louis, Missouri, another violent city. We talk about Chicago, but it's also St. Louis, Baltimore, Bloomington, Indiana. Bloomington, Indiana, Memphis, Tennessee, all these places. 7 people shot within 10 minutes in separate Brooklyn incidents. Brooklyn, New York. Homicides increased 250% in LA, California. This reminds me so much of the Black Lives Matter rise. Rise of Black Lives Matter, rise of black on black murders, deaths. They do not care about black crime. It's not just black on black crime they don't care about. They don't care about black on white crime. In fact, most of them don't even know about it. If you mention black on white crime, you're assumed to be a white nationalist, as if that's something worse than a liberal. It's a mess. You heard about the Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed a woman who's, you know, she might be a little bit on the liberal side, but she's a fairly objective journalist. Heather McDonald. You know, I don't really know her politics, honestly. Heather McDonald, Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed her a few years ago after, you know, it was probably the height or just after the height of Black Lives Matter riots around the country over Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, all that madness, right? Eric Garner and cop killings and madness. The Ferguson effect was the rise in murders and homicides around the country thanks to Obama. Thanks, Obama. It rose something like, I saw on Stefan Molyneux's show, 25% from 2015 to 2017, something like that. 25% increase in murders around the country. Crazy. And then the stupid criminologists are liberals. They're basically socialists, right? They're brainwashed by the institutions. They do not, and it's MacDonald, M-A-C, I think. They don't want to be honest. They're like, we don't know. We can't put our finger on why it is that this crime has risen. Oh, gee, was it letting the criminals out of jail, which Obama did, the state of California did, a liberal judge forced California to depopulate the prisons and redistribute the ghettos. Crazy. HUD, the Housing and Urban Development, redistribution of ghettos to the middle class. Lin Yun Chin says, black and white mix demands proof by black in hate. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Anyways, guys, tonight is Wednesday night. Hopefully a Sunday service reprise from 2009. Check it out. Bond Rebuilding the Man on YouTube. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care.